Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Welcome to everyone joining us here today. You can see on your screen that we have Amber Valentine Forston, who's going to be with us here at Gold Neonatal Online Conference. I'm very excited about that, Amber. It's our 7th year that we're going into this year, and boy, we're doing such great work over there. And of course, we are delighted that you'll be joining us for this up and coming event. I see you're talking about building a successful breastfeeding program in the NICU, challenges and practical solutions. Boy, we're always looking for those things. It's definitely going to be a great presentation. I know you have lots of experience in that area. So welcome back to Gold. I know you have been around, it feels like around Gold for quite some time doing various things, which I'll let you share with our folks who are listening in today. But please go ahead and just tell folks where you are in the world so that give them a reminder of where your home base is.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Amber. Like she said, I live in Lexington, Kentucky. I work at an acute care facility that has adults and pediatric patients, but I am primarily housed in our level 3 NICU now and cover mother, baby, and outpatient feeding and swallowing. So kind of do a little bit of this and that in the feeding world now. And every once in a while sneak an adult in there. But
Wow.
yeah, yes, I know. Keeps me on my toes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So mostly my biggest role is I'm a speech pathologist who happens to be an IBCLC too. And so for me, I've done some other things with Gold in the past, working with, NAS babies and working with some other things. But this one specifically is near and dear to me because I helped build the feeding program in our NICU, so this one's kind of like really super close to my heart. And I will say anybody that's worked in the NICU knows what a challenge it is to build any kind of feeding program. And to work on breastfeeding rates, especially in an area like Lexington, or I know like any of the places in the United States and other areas that maybe we're a little bit more urban, but most of our patients come from very rural areas, so we're looking at trying to build breastfeeding success on places that maybe don't have breastfeeding support. So
Right.
it's certainly been a challenge, that we've had to work on trying to figure out how to not only start out successfully, but also help, navigate towards what discharge from the NICU looks like and so forth. So it's been interesting, but extremely challenging.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. I know these programs are desperately needed. There's lots of people that talk about, wanting to protect breastfeeding, particularly when it comes to an infant being in the NICU, sometimes very unexpectedly, right? Because that's the shock that can happen to a family where everything sort of is taken off the table, whereas sometimes it would have been a desire of the family. And I know that you're working with them to sort of reestablish, what's going to be really important for those infants as well. Tell me what is happening transitional wise right now for families when they actually leave the NICU. This success rate you're talking about, is that what you're seeing right now, like good success rates as they go into the community?
Well, and that's what we're really working on now. One of my goals was after we started building the program, and we started this program for neuroprotective feeding just in general about 5 or 6 years ago in our NICU. Previous to that, we really hadn't been doing tons and tons of great feeding support, just in general. And so then when we're looking at that coupled with trying to have more successful breastfeeding with obviously the rise of breastfeeding, rates just in general, my biggest goal was to look and see what I was sending people out to in the community, what resources were available. And in Lexington, we have a lot of resources for lactation support. But like I said, some of these more rural areas, I'm trying to look at what's in their community, what kind of like therapy supports, what kind of lactation supports. And then that being said, in our community in Lexington, we kind of started an outsource of lactation professionals to see if we could reach more and more, kind of expand the information, which is why I love opportunities like this to talk to people about breastfeeding support, whether they're nurses or therapists or whomever's in the community, to kind of spread the word that lactation support's so crucial after they leave the hospital. That's just like the tip of the iceberg for breastfeeding support. So That's kind of
Yeah.
what we're looking at now, is how we can expand community resources for these patients and their, in their families. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Tell me about the actual parents, the parents that are breastfeeding, the predominantly, of course, mothers who are breastfeeding. Is their confidence level going up? Are you seeing a shift and a change as you're working through this program with them?
I think I have seen a huge shift since 5 or 6 years ago when we started this program. Even the staff that I was working with, not that anybody didn't think breastfeeding was important,
Right.
but I think the goal for the NICU was always just to like get out of the NICU. And so now it's like I've even seen my nursing staff that I work with like kind of really getting excited about offering breastfeeding support. Like they're using the strategies that I've been using, and so everybody's kind of more excited about it now. So it's nice to see the older staff who's looking to retire, how excited they're getting about learning new things. And then the younger staff coming up, that they're like, they're so excited about learning new skills for them, and stuff like that. So I think parents feel empowered when the staff that they work with feel comfortable with what they're doing.
Sure. Yeah, it's certainly taken some time. And you're right. The goal obviously is to get babies out of the NICU and home. We know that they thrive and, do really, really well. But if we're missing some of those key components, in order the follow-up, the follow-through, and we really can set them up for success. So you mentioned that your staff are really taking this on board. And initially, when you had this program, how did you sell it to your sort of teams, your management? How did they, were they gung-ho right away? Was there additional costs that were, and like what sort of barriers did you feel like you might have had?
We had a huge turning point for us is we had a new NICU director come on board, and she was extremely well versed in working in interdisciplinary care in her previous NICU. She had worked with therapy discipline, she had worked with lactation, so she was kind of the foundational support that we had. And because we had such good support, we did end up purchasing programs, not necessarily that were just for breastfeeding, but we're looking at just neuroprotective feeding in general to promote those, positive feeding experiences. And with that, we also looked at things like what we were feeding babies. I know that's something I'm going to talk about. We were looking at Prolacta. We were looking at donor milk. We were looking at the options to protect the gut biome, so she really, honestly, she was such a huge asset for us. And maybe our program would not have been successful had it not been for her, but she took it to the hires that be, and she got the docs on board, and she kind of got all the players, in place. And I think because of her advocacy, we were kind of able to create that. But, I understand what it's like to not have that support.
Sure.
And so that was kind of the idea of this whole, concept, was like how you can build feeding programs, yes, in the NICU, but whatever your situation looks like, how you can successfully build these programs with what you have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's what people are generally, looking for. And if you have a program, how to enhance it, compare programs, see what's happening. Collaborative care, of course, has changed substantially in the NICU. We've got a lot of professionals coming in that we would never see before until later on, outside of the NICU. So those are some of the real advantages I think we're all seeing, which is really exciting. So I'm so appreciative that you're working hard to maintain and, keep this program going where you are. So that's good. I know you're going to be sharing lots about that. Again, your presentation title, Building a Successful Breastfeeding Program in the NICU, Challenges and Practical Solutions. So here's your opportunity, folks, to bring your questions to Amber. I'm going to put you right on the hot seat right there, right now, Amber. You're going to be with us here live. We'll have a live Q&A while you're with us. Folks will be able to come into your session and actually ask questions while they're there, which is great. And if you have a program already that's established, come and collaborate with us, share your experiences. We want to hear more from folks because this is how we build great programs. And ultimately, this is going to give sustainability to all of our communities around the world. So it's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much, Amber. It's so good having you back at Gold here. Thank you for joining me here today.
All right. Thanks so much. So glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all of you folks listening in right now, quick reminder, head over to our website at goldneonatal.com. You can get all the details as well as the schedule of when Amber is going to be live at our conference. So be sure to check that out. Now, if you're busy that day or you can't make it, it will be recorded for your convenience. You'll be able to listen to it on demand. And we have a dedicated forum, so you won't even miss out on some of that conversation and questions that you'll be able to pose to Amber as well. So lots of opportunity. The conference opens up on May 30th with an open keynote. It's also free and open access, so you can share that with your colleagues all around the world. And we will look forward to seeing many of you online that day. But thank you so much for joining me again here today, Amber. And thank you to all of you listening in. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye for now, everyone.